You may have heard about Ngrams for Amazon PPC. It's an advanced method of search term analysis that allows you to uncover hidden and wasted ad spend so that you can lower your ACoS.
If you haven't heard about Ngrams, no problem. Today, we're breaking down the definition and showing you how to make full use of this advanced tactic to improve your Amazon PPC.
All right, guys, you may know that we have that Amazon Ads Masterclass, which is a online course that Andrew and I created last year. It's basically the podcast information, but distilled and on steroids. So it's streamlined, faster, more intense content. You can check it out. There's a link in the description. We are overdue. We are supposed to upload a few masterclass videos to YouTube, just some of the teasers. So be on the lookout for those. We're going to start uploading just a few of the lessons for free. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. One of those lessons is the Ngrams tutorial, which I don't know if that's coming out before this episode or after this episode. So look for that. But we're going to do a real quick screen share and just show you very quickly what is going on in the Google Sheet that Andrew created. So Andrew, we've got this sheet. Why don't you just give us like the 10, 15 second tutorial for how to use this Google Sheet, and then we're going to show you guys a better, faster way.
Yeah, so basically to use this sheet, what you need to do is go download a search term report, upload it to this sheet, and then it will parse everything out for you and help you start to analyze these different sequences of words. So it's pretty straightforward. In the lesson, we'll walk you through exactly how to do all that.
Yeah, so just take that search term report, last 30 days, 60 days, grab the impressions, clicks, spend, orders, ad sales, just paste it in the same form that you see it here. And then the Google Sheet will do the magic and break everything down. Now, before we actually walk through that sheet, I totally forgot to offer the definition of Ngrams. So, Andrew, do you want to tell people what the classic legal definition of an Ngram is?
Yeah, this is from ChatGPT, so it's official. An ngram is a contiguous sequence of n words for a given phrase or text. And I was confused, like, what's that n mean? That just means number of words. So we're basically looking at a phrase or individual words, and yeah, that's what you have in your search term report. Anyway, anything else to add to that definition?
I think contiguous might need a definition. It means sharing a common border or touching. So the example that we have is if you have the sentence, okay, I'm saying sentence, but imagine these are search terms, right? If you have the sentence, the search term, the cat runs fast. A unigram or monogram, a 1 gram is when we say ngram, the n is just a number. So you can have a 1 gram, a 2 gram, a 3 gram. That's what the n is signifying. So in a monogram or a unigram with one letter, you're breaking that search term out into the as one word, cat, another word, runs, another word, fast. And then bigram or 2 would be you'd have the cat and cat runs and runs fast because you're breaking all of that out. And then the trigram or 3 would be the cat runs and then on the first half, and then cat runs fast on the third. And you can see that with that contiguous definition, all of those words are directly adjacent and connecting to each other. But when it comes to Amazon PPC, those search terms, so it's basically functioning like phrases, right? So you've got the phrase, the cat runs versus the phrase cat runs fast. But when we do our Ngram analysis, we prefer to use a little bit more of a modified broad match definition, which allows the reordering of words. So you can have fast cat runs, for example, would still be included in a 3 gram. So it's 3 words that are within that sentence or search term, but not necessarily, they don't have to be directly adjacent and in that exact same order. Andrew, can you think of any, like, I couldn't think off the top of my head, but any examples that come to mind of where allowing that rearrangement can actually be kind of helpful?
Yeah. So I have a client who sells goggles, and we did this analysis, and we noticed that prescription kept showing up in a lot of search terms, but it wasn't always like adjacent with, it wasn't like prescription goggles always. It was like goggles for swimming prescription, things like that. So having that flexibility to reorganize things, we still were able to identify like prescription goggles was something that they did not sell that wasn't performing super well. So having that reordering definitely helped.
That makes total sense. And this is where this starts becoming very valuable, right? When people do their search term analysis, they normally are only looking at search terms. So you can have tons of really long tail search terms. Like, and when we say long tail, we're saying like the word count in that term is like 4, 5, 6 words long. And you've got 1,000 different variations of these long tail search terms that individually, they all only have like 50 cents to spend, $1 of spend, nothing big. But in that same list of 1,000 search terms, you have the word prescription and goggles appearing over and over and over again in any kind of order or rearrangement. So you can have prescription goggles for swimming, or goggles for swimming with prescription, or goggles prescription, whatever. So that's where the bigram is going to break apart all of the search terms in your entire search term report and break out those individual words and couple them back together to aggregate that data. So on this Google sheet, you can see the monogram version is taking every individual word and breaking it out and showing you exactly what the performance metrics are like, versus the bigram, which is now taking 2 of these. So, you can imagine that, like, peanut butter, for example, you're probably not going to get people typing in like butter peanut, things like that. But they could be rearranged in a few ways. And then trigram just gets you one layer deeper. The purpose of these is to uncover negative phrase match opportunities where you just can't normally find this data aggregated at this level when doing, when just looking at a simple search term report. Anything to
Yep.
add here, Andrew?
Yeah, a lot of times you won't see it on the individual search term level in some of these things, like prescription goggles. Like maybe that only shows up once or twice here and there, but across the entire account, whenever you take all that data, aggregate it across those individual words and individual phrases, it starts to add up and shows you a little bit of a trend whenever you've rolled it all up. So you may not catch it if you're just going through looking for negative opportunities within your search term reports, like if especially if it has to have reached a certain level of spend and things like that. Sometimes these things are really low spend, but overall on aggregate, whenever you start to combine the performance across the entire account or a group of campaigns, it really starts to become offensive and dictate some of your performance. So you're able to see it a little bit more clearly whenever you're able to aggregate it up across all those little instances where that word shows up.
100%. Now, let's switch over to our preferred method, because the the search term report, this Google sheet works great. Only downfall is your search term reports can only get like 60 days of data, and you're also it can be a pain to have to download it, upload it here, and then go find those campaigns, and then like if we could just sort this by like highest
Sometimes
ACoS.
Google Sheets will crash too, like if you
If
have
it's a
too
really
many
big
search
search term report,
terms.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like this is a good example where it's like you see fermented, you're probably not getting the search term fermented appearing as like a standalone search term, but it is appearing in longer tail keywords and is getting averaging 350% ACoS. So you might just want to like, you can, the next thing you have to do is go back to your search report, filter out for contains fermented to see where that's appearing, and try to, you know, find those campaigns and then add the negatives. But we're going to be using AdLabs because what we can do here is I've hidden the actual search term columns just to maintain some confidentiality here. But you can do a whole like year to date or 2 years data, whatever time frame you want, and you can select all these search terms. You see that we've got 42,000 search terms here, and then just click this little Ngrams icon, which is going to open up this window, and now you can enter the number of words or n's ngrams you want to count to. So you could do a monogram versus a bigram versus trigram. So let's just start with a monogram. It's going to be probably a lot. So it calculates it. That's 4,000 unique words. It's actually kind of interesting. So out of the 40,000 unique search terms, there's 4,600 unique individual words, and we can now adjust some filters here. So maybe we want to do. I already got this sales equals 0. So let's just look at the stuff where sales equals 0, and let's sort by the highest spend. I think we already sorted like that. So now we can start to analyze. This is kind of weird. That's a very strange long tail search term. I'm surprised it got so
Got a
much
couple of those.
spend. Yeah, it's when that I have no idea how that. I'm gonna have to look into that one later. Um, money. All right, not doing well. Hanging, not doing well. CCW, hang, plier. So you can start California. Like as far as I'm aware, this brand doesn't have anything that's California specific. So it's appearing in 5 different search terms. If I hit this drop down, I can see California framing hammer. So I can drop down and see what more specifically which search terms and campaigns this is appearing in.
I'll just say this too. This works better whenever you have longer date ranges. Things start to become a little bit more apparent whenever you're using those longer date ranges. Steven selected year to date data. You may not find these more offensive keywords and things spending a whole lot if you're looking at like a 30-day, even a 60-day time frame. So being able to extend that date range back a lot further will really reveal a lot of these underlying issues here with your search term. So just wanted to note that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check Amazon real quick for. I mean, this is if you okay. Whenever there's a search term that you don't know what it means, like you don't know what people are looking for, because I am not good with hammers. Just go search it real quick, right? And it looks like now there's 2 actions I could take here. I could do negative exact California framing hammer, or I could go negative phrase on California framing hammer, or I can just negative phrase California, which I mean, in this case, that's kind of where the Ngrams are supposed to help. So, um, just to kind of, if you do, it's a weird situation where all the search terms were identical. But when you start getting all these kind of weird things, like I had one brand in the ceiling fan category, and when I did Ngrams, I noticed I was getting like thousands of search terms that would contain the word battery, where none of them were individually like bad performing search terms, but in aggregate, we were spending like $3,000 at like 800% ACoS on people that were searching for battery powered ceiling fans or battery replacement ceiling fans, all these kind of things. Where the ceiling fans we have are not battery powered; they're just you plug them into the grid. So that was a good opportunity to just negative phrase battery from 100% of our campaigns. And so in this case too, same with this. If we just this as a negative phrase at the campaign level, ad group level, whatever, it's going to automatically add it to the campaigns that it appeared in. But I can also just expand that to all of my campaigns if I just really want to make sure that we just are preemptively covering it from all other campaigns. So now it's been added to everyone. So we shall never again see California in our search terms, at least not on these campaigns. Obviously, if I launch new campaigns, I have to add that negative. But starting from August into the rest of the lifetime of these campaigns, we're never going to see California appear. So that is how you can start trimming this down. I mean, in total, all this stuff is like, how much wasted ad spend is this? $7,500 of ad spend. It's down here where I'm getting that from. Isn't that a nice feature? So yeah, I mean, you start to get the idea of where you can optimize. The other thing too is you also want to look at high-ACoS, right? So if ACoS is greater than, let's just start with like 100% or something like that, and we can sort this by highest ACoS and start to do additional analysis. Mole, I don't know what this is. Let's check it out.
This is so good for just finding those irrelevant terms too. Like you're breaking it down individual terms. It's very easy to go through and see the stuff that's relevant to your product or not. We talked about prescription goggles. You mentioned California. Now we're looking at mole. Like just going through, scanning through these and seeing, does this even relate to the product? You mentioned batteries on your fans. Like those are kind of the obvious things that you're looking for. And in general, the negative criteria that we're looking at is it relevant to the product or not? A lot of times you can tell that from the data. If it's not converting, it's got a lot of spend, may not be relevant. And so, these are just a couple filters you can use to help narrow that down and find those things that are irrelevant that could be, ruining some of the performance within your account. And just to backtrack to your hammer example, a California framing hammer it's just the shape of a hammer, in case anybody was wondering.
Mm. And this mole appears is apparently a competitor brand term.
Mhm.
So these aren't specifically competitor conquesting campaigns. So like I can probably come back here later and add that as a negative. But you see the point here. There's like a ton of different stuff that I need to go through because like wallet, for example, we have one product that's kind of like a money clip holder, but it's like a very bad product that we're discontinuing. Obviously, it's not. You see, you can kind of get a sense of the other products here are based on like more construction type stuff. So wallets are not our main thing. I'm gonna go through here and just double check that that search term is not appearing in like my other non-wallet campaign. So there's just a lot of analysis that you can dig through here and try to find out what's going on. And now I can also switch this to check for 2 grams, bigrams, and see how things change. So now we've got pouch bag, badger tool, EDC, blah, 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 tools and whatever. So lots of ways to just uh, manipulate, uncover, discover, and try to find opportunities where things are slipping through the cracks that your normal search term filters can't find. This is basically just an advanced filtering system that is identifying deeper trends within your search term reports for the purpose of negative phrase match keywords.
There are so many valuable pieces and insights that you can gain from doing this level of analysis using Ngrams. You're able to uncover those inefficiencies, spot opportunities for adding those negative phrase keywords, finding those root keywords that are really offensive within your account, and start to clean some of that stuff up. So if there was anything that you had questions on or that we didn't cover in this episode that you'd like us to cover, make sure you leave a comment, make sure you like and subscribe this video, and stay tuned for more episodes as we drop. Again, as Steven mentioned, we've got the Masterclass exclusive videos coming out soon. So those will be really value packed and value driven. So stay on the lookout for those, and we'll see you next time on That Amazon Ads Podcast.
Peace out.